MPL presents Cricbuzz Live. We've had a Saturday from the northern part of the country, from Mohali and Delhi, and now all the action shifts south of the Vindhyas to Hyderabad and later on to Chennai as the Sunrisers Hyderabad take on the Royal Challengers Bangalore, and later on the Chennai Super Kings take on the Rajasthan Royals. Double-header, Super Sunday coming up, but I hope I got that one right as I look to our gentleman in the studio, Michael Vaughan, Joy Bhattacharya. South of the Vindhyas, was I correct with my geography?
Yeah, south of the Vindhyas. I think both are south of the Vindhyas, definitely.
Yeah, I was just thinking of all the ICSE geography I've been forced to study recently. But guess what? There's a guy who should still be in class 10 at the moment who's going to be walking out to play an IPL game today. That's incredible. 16 years old.
Well, it's remarkable, really. When you think about it, I've got a lad who arrives on Tuesday night. He's 13. Your boy is
16. He's older than Prayas Ray Burman.
There you go. And he's going to make his debut with Virat Kohli just to add a bit more pressure to it.
I mean, and he comes from Bengal, leg spinner, to add to the list of leg spinners in there. It's going to be a huge experience for him. Just have a look at that.
No, absolutely. I think it's in from left field, but if there's any a team in this IPL who needs to come in and do something unexpected, it's probably Bangalore. Just look at, they're playing with two leggies out there, and it's very interesting. I was thinking about it, it's probably Virat Kohli's idea is he's going back to his old times where for the Indian team, basically, he loves playing with his two leg spinners, He's got a left arm leggy and a right arm leggy, a Chinaman and a...
He will be very, very popular in the UK. Prayas Barman.
Didn't think of it like that, but yes, just to remind all of you that the toss has been won by Virat Kohli and the Royal Challengers Bangalore, and for the 9th time this season, a side has opted to bowl first, and we reckon both captains were looking through that. But the big news there, walking out to toss, was Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. We felt that maybe they'll use the opportunity to rest him, but there seems to be a niggle, but not Shakib in his place. It's Mohammad Nabi.
Yeah, Mohammad Nabi. I mean, another high-quality Afghanistan player. Off-spin, can whack the ball as well. Did so well in the Big Bash with the Melbourne Renegades. He was the champion in that tournament. So he's an all-round quality. Shakib, obviously, they've gone for the off-spinner rather than the left armer, and maybe because Nabi's batting's just been that little bit better of late. But he's always a big loss, Kane Williamson, because he brings a calmness. He's tactically always on the money, and obviously a high-quality batsman in the middle.
That's two left-arm spinners technically that have been sacrificed because Shakib doesn't come in, and the person who's been left out in addition is Shahbaz Nadeem.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're going in without a left-arm option in there.
Two off-spinners and Rashid Khan.
Two off-spinners and Rashid Khan. Look, it still is a fairly intimidating bowling side. If Bhuvaneshwar Kumar starts coming into form, that's still good. Interesting that they're still keeping Sandeep Sharma out there. And that's interesting. The batting, though, exactly, it will miss the calmness of Kane Williamson, but probably today is the day for Manish Pandey to stand up and be counted. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they batted him at 3 and said, okay, you've not had a great run of late, here's your chance, come in early, take a few balls and establish yourself, because they really need him to fire. He's the one part of their arsenal which is not firing right now.
So the Sunrisers are a smart team. They always look to who they're playing rather than what happened in the last game. The Moody, Kane Williamson combination, Bhuvaneshwar. Don't be surprised if Mohammad Nabi opens the ball into Patel and Moeen Ali. Two left-handers. Nabi's very, very good with the new ball, particularly in that first 6. So don't be surprised because of that. Two left-handers, they've gone with the off-spinner to open the bowling.
Did Nabi open at all in
lots of times, yeah. He just bowls those sliders. He's got the ability to shape him back into the left-hand, kind of restrict some room, and also can spin the ball if the surface is required. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him take the new ball.
And interesting that you've got Huda in as well, perhaps a little bit more to strengthen the batting down the order?
Yeah, absolutely. They are strengthening the batting down the order, but also they know that Williamson's loss is far more than just his physical batting. It's about, as he said, the calmness he brings to it, the entire unit that he does, and so maybe having one more batter as coverage is not a bad thing at all. But interesting because they're going to be playing against a team that's going to playing with two leggies, and I'd be really interested in seeing how Virat Kohli now uses bowlers, as his lineup now looks very much like what the Indian team lineup is. Two fast bowlers, two basically spinners, one guy who does an off. He's got Moeen Ali, of course, as well. Should be interesting.
Now, I can tell you it's not just Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Virat Kohli and the team management who need to be going and watching out for their lineups because, thankfully, on MPL Presents Cricbuzz Live. We've got all of you out there needing to create your teams, and in case you haven't, this is how you can create that super team. Download the MPL app, get on there, select a match, which could be one of two matches today, and join the contest and create your team. At the end of the day, we'll find our champion for the day, the MPL Super Team Hero. For the moment, I've actually sneaked out. I've made my team, made sure nobody else who knows what my team is. But yes, in terms of the lineups, there's one story that the Sunrisers Hyderabad had last year, and that was no matter what score they put on the board, they would go out there and defend it. If they made a 180, great, they'd go and defend it. If they made a 120, they would trust their bowling to go out and defend it. Something has changed this season because the numbers suggest it, and we've seen it on the field. They don't look that threatening unit at the death in those last 4 or 5 overs, led by today's captain.
Yeah, and it's only 2 games in, so you can't read too much into it, but you know, Bhubaneswar Kumar is outstanding. He really is a high-quality white ball bowler, red ball bowler, gets the ball moving around. And it just shows you that even though you've got experience, even though you've done it in the past, if you're off by an inch or so in this era of white ball cricket, you're going to disappear to the ropes, as has been the case in the first 2 games of this year's IPL. It's a game that, as a bowler, you kind of you need a little bit of fortune, and if the fortune's not going your way, and you're just, I guess, lacking in confidence and belief, and you just lose that lack of belief in yourself, you know that the ball's going to disappear. I always think with someone like Bhubaneswar that he just needs a little bit of shape through the air, and even at the back end of the innings, if he can get the ball just moving back into the right-hander so he can restrict the right-handers of any kind of width, your margins for that Yorker just get that little bit wider. If the ball's going gun barrel straight, which was the case in the first 2 games, you've got about that much to play with. You've hardly got any kind of inches to play with. He's been missing that zone, and the ball's been travelling into the stands.
See, the other problem they have is that Sandeep Sharma is also a bowler who relies a lot on swing. I mean, his strength is that he's a swing bowler. Normally they'd bowl him 3 up front or 2 up front, finish him off in the middle. He'd never probably bowl towards the end. And therefore what's happening is your other bowler, if there's no swing, it's Bhubaneswar Kumar's impacted, Sandeep Sharma is even more impacted. And Sandeep Sharma used to give them early wickets. And what you have is Siddharth Kaul. And Siddharth Kaul is a great, he's very skillful, but he's not particularly a great, he's got all the variations, he's on point, he's very accurate, but he's got nothing particularly threatening. He doesn't have the threatening swing, say, a Bhubaneswar Kumar does, or a Sandeep can have. Therefore, he's a great bowler to have when a couple of other guys have taken wickets. You know what I mean? But he's not the kind of bowler who leads breakthroughs normally, and that's basically their problem. If their spearheads are not getting wickets, then the support bowlers also look just that little bit not on form. Yeah. And it's cascading all the way down from Bhubaneswar, as you can say.
The only thing threatening this season from Sid Kaul has been the headband.
I like that look.
Yeah, it's a great look. I've been trying very hard. Last year we had him as a guest on Cricbuzz Unplugged, and he let us into a lot of secrets, but he said the one I'm still not telling you is the reason why I wear the headband. Somebody's given it to him.
No, it was given to him by his coach. I know, because Siddharth started his IPL career in KKR, and it was given to him by his first coach. His father actually plays tennis and is in SAI, works in SAI as well. And that's why the first headband he has was actually a tennis headband, and then he got used to it and became one of those lucky things. You get a couple of knocks and all that, and then he just held on to it.
There you go. Why did I assume that with Joy Bhattacharya in the studio, some piece of trivia would remain unsolved? Well, that's been solved, but what is not yet solved for Tom Moody and company is these numbers that don't look very, very healthy at the moment. Yes, it may be early days, but still, there's a significant difference, particularly if you look at over 16 to 20 between 2016, 17, 18, and then a jump to almost 15 runs and over. And as you said, Michael, it's a couple of games, but even in those couple of games, they've conceded 69 and 76 respectively in 5 overs.
Well, it just proves that they're human. You know, they can have a couple of games where it doesn't quite go right. The opposing team have hit the ball nicely. You miss your zones by an inch or so, or your mindset's just not quite right, or your strategy and thinking is just not quite right, and the batsmen outthink you. You can travel to the ropes. That's just the nature of T20 cricket. But you know pretty much over a tournament that someone like Bhubaneswar Kumar, he will get it right, and he will get back to what we know that he can deliver, which is consistency at the front and at the back end of the. I mean, his start in the first 2 games in the first 6 overs this year has been fantastic. His economy is 5. So he's actually bowling with only 2 fielders outside of the power play with great skill, great control, and it's probably because he's just getting a little bit of movement with that brand new ball towards the back end. No movement, the batsmen that are in, he's missing his zone by just an inch or so, and he's travelling to the boundary.
Yes, he is. But one person there's absolutely no doubt about, even when the rest of the bowlers are going at 14s and 15s, he's still kept his wits about him, not just with ball, but bat in hand as well. He's one of the stars of the tournament, one of the stars of world cricket, really. And Harsha Bhogle caught up with him exclusively for Cricbuzz Unplugged. Rashid Khan.
How do you handle pressure? I mean, in the game against Rajasthan Royals, clearly you were brought on because Josh Buttler is a threat at the top of the order. So you're brought on specifically to get the opposition batsman. Or do you think, oops, I'm under pressure, I have to do this, I have to deliver?
I think when it's pressure, time comes, I always make movie in my mind. You know, that is very important thing for me. Since I have been playing cricket, I always make, before the game, I make a movie in my mind. When the captain told me that you need to come and bowl from this end in the next hour, I made a movie in my mind that, you know, bowling to Buttler, I get him bowled out and something like that, leg before, I slip. That's how I got him. If I had this thing in the mind that, oh, if he hit me there, if he hit me there, I think automatically he would have hit me. So that movie really helps me. I make myself a hero in that, and I says, look, I need to bowl it there, and that will turn like this, turn like this. If I bowl wrong one here, that's how it happens when I bowl it in the wicket. I think the same case happened in the batting as well in the last game. Before coming to the wicket, I was fed up and I was just looking and having something that how good it would be if I had the winning shot on 6, and that is like a helicopter shot. Yeah. Believe me, that was happening in my mind. I was repeating those things in my mind that I will hit this if I get this opportunity to go there and play there. So that's how it happens. So I think when the pressure comes, I always trying my best to make a movie in my mind and release my pressure and make a best movie for myself, which gives me, like, it makes me happy and which makes me to perform well.
I've heard a lot of descriptions of how players try and rationalize in their minds what to do, but thinking of yourself as a film hero, that's a first for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going through my head at who could he be inspired by, because the only Afghan I've seen in a film is Kabuliwala, this film about a old Afghan which is in the 30s. But like, is he Chulbul Pandey in Dabang, or is he, since he's an actor, director as well, he could be Rocky, he could be Sylvester Stallone in Rocky. I mean, he does it all. I direct the film, I write the script, I finish it off myself. I think we should put it up to our viewers and say, guys, you need to decide which film poster he belongs in, because he definitely deserves to be in a film.
Yeah, if it was Sid Cole, we would have given him Rambo with the headband.
I think the red belt from
Michael, can you picture a hero, and a Hollywood hero? He could possibly be Indiana Jones, someone who's under the pump.
I watched a lot of movies, but I never kind of positioned it as me in the cricket field. James Bond, I'll take James Bond. But I wouldn't say I'd be anywhere close to being James Bond. But what he is an unbelievable cricketer. You know, he talks great, he delivers under the pressure, he's flamboyant, he smiles, he talks really well about the game. He did an interview in the Big Bash in Australia, and he said he's got 7 brothers, of which they're all better than he is. And straight away I was saying, all the agents around the world will be on the phone, all the franchise owners saying, even if they're a 10th as good as Rashid Khan, you'd take them all in your side. He's a superstar of the game.
Michael Vaughan and Joy have both alluded to it, so we want all of you to contribute now. Today, well before you answer the Joy Factor question, we want you on #CricBuzzLive to tell us which hero you think Rashid Khan best fits. And we'll send it back to Rashid and we'll give him feedback on that, and maybe that's the poster he's going to put up in his room. All right? Now let's get back to another hero, an Aussie hero, David Warner. He's been in scintillating form, and remember, the Australians are playing a one-day series at the moment in the Middle East against Pakistan. They're 4-0 up, and Warner and Smith aren't there. They've gone and visited the team, but now they're here playing the IPL. Now the big question really, David Warner's started in scintillating form. Does he, for you, walk straight into that side?
For me, he walks into any team. You know, it doesn't matter what country. I know he can only play for one country, but if you were picking a player to open the baton in all formats, David Warner would be that player. You know, whatever you think of David Warner, whatever you think of what he's done on the field, off the field, he is an incredible cricketer, an incredible batsman, and no question in my eyes that Warner strolls straight back into that Aussie team. I know Khawaja's played nicely at the top. I know Aaron Finch has found form again, but I think it'll be Khawaja, Finch and David Warner in the top 3. Now the question mark for me is Steve Smith. You know, Steve Smith, again, an incredible player. We've seen that over the years. But I look at the way that Steve Smith and that elbow is, he's clearly got a problem with the elbow. Does he get straight back into that Australian one-day team? And Aaron Finch just recently said there's going to be some tricky positions under grabs. There's going to be some, well, there you go. When the side is playing so well, it's selection going to be difficult. No matter who it is, it's an incredible tough decision. Whatever balance you go with in that 15-man squad, there are going to be some very unlucky blokes out there. Now, that could be a message to some of the players that have been playing. The likes of Peter Hanscom's come in and played quite nicely. But I look at Steve Smith and I just wonder if Australia, if he goes well here and he smashes it to all parts, he hasn't had an opportunity yet for Rajasthan, they'll probably take him to the World Cup. If he struggles a little bit here, I just wonder if they'll think, wait a minute, there'll be a county or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 that would grab Steve Smith. There's lots of 4-day games around June and July leading into the Ashes series. And I just wonder if they'll be smart and think, would we do without Steve Smith in the World Cup to prepare Steve Smith better to be in that Ashes by allowing him to go and play 5, 6 or 7 4-day games in a county with the red ball, get that elbow spot on? I think at this stage you can possibly miss Steve Smith for the World Cup and still have success, but I don't see them having success in the Ashes without Steve Smith. So they've got to get that elbow right and they've got to get him in form for the longer format of the game.
So I think that's a fair call there. David Warner really walks in, but you put a question mark on Steve Smith. Interesting quote from Finch, and I think the big thing for Finch's quote to come now is that before the series you were still wondering, Finch has to captain, but will he captain and lead from the front with the bat? He's answered that question.
He's absolutely, and it's an interesting position. This wouldn't have been the statement had they been 2-all or 1-3 or 0-4.
And had Finch had 3 ducks in a row,
Absolutely.
as he had started doing last year.
Absolutely. So this is a very different Australian team. And it's just that, you're right. World Cup time is really Australia time for the last 25 or 30 odd years. And you're wondering, this time is the first time in about 25 odd years, so after 92 this is the weakest Australian team people were talking about that, this time they don't really have a team they can put in the park. And lo and behold, 1 year, 6 months before the World Cup, they suddenly start running into form. And suddenly they look like a fairly dangerous outfit. They'll be dangerous there.
Yeah, one of the keys is Glenn Maxwell. We've seen Glenn Maxwell just recently find form. I know Justin Langer's come out with a quote which I can't quite believe. He said that if there's anyone going to be getting close to Virat Kohli, it potentially could be Glenn Maxwell. I don't see him on that kind of level, but I certainly see him as a match winner in that middle. And he's played the role beautifully for the Aussies in the UAE against Pakistan. He played quite nicely against India. So they've got some players around that middle. Sean Marsh has had a tremendous 2 years.
Khawaja's coming into his own.
Khawaja's played well at the top of the order. I've always felt he was a better opener rather than being at 3 where they'll probably just bowl spin straight away to him. Just give him a little bit of pace in the top of the order. Then you've got the likes of Stoinis. Carey's not a bad player, with the gloves in hand. Peter Hanscom's got a century just recently. And then you throw into the mix David Warner into that category. And the bowling just seems to be growing and growing with Jai Richardson coming through. And then you've got Hazelwood, you've got Stark, you've got Cummins, you've got Pattinson, who's just won a Sheffield Shield for Victoria. So as an England ex-player, I'm starting to get very, very concerned about the Aussies.
I was just going to say, before you finish the sentence, let's remind you that Michael Vaughan is actually English, and he's praising the Australians, but it's all praise that's due. But that one Australian we're focusing on for the moment is David Warner, because all the Australians have been performing without Warner at the moment, and this is what Warner does in the context of today's game for Hyderabad against Bangalore. And these are serious numbers. An average of 66. We normally talk about 30s and 40s with a decent strike rate as being all right in T20 cricket. That is serious stuff in 8 innings.
Hey, 7 50s in 8 innings tells you everything about the consistency of this player. And that's what is fascinating about David Warner. For a player who hits the ball so hard at such a high strike rate, his consistency is amazing. Because normally when you have players like that, they get out also. They'll have 50s and zeros and this thing. David Warner's consistency at the strike rate he maintains is something that is unparalleled in international cricket, at least in the T20 format. And that's the beauty of it. Having him there. My point is that under normal circumstances, if this was last year, Ken Williamson might have said that, I can't afford to rest under these circumstances. They're taking that chance only because there's a Warner and a Bairstow now ahead of them, and that solidity of Warner is there that he's so consistent, he gives them those options.
Very quickly, who would be your weapon against David Warner? They've got that extra leg spinning option, and you throw the 16-year-old in the deep end and say he's your man.
Oh, no, I wouldn't throw this.
Only because Warner has absolutely no idea, probably never played him before, never seen him before.
I'd go Umesh Yadav and go aggressive. I'd go into his armpit. goes short and get him trying to flab it. I think if you look at some of the ways he gets out, he kind of gets his hands and his kind of bat in the wrong position for playing the pull shot. It kind of just flicks at the ball, and he's been caught out at fine leg and deep square leg, just kind of flicking at the ball. So I'd throw the ball to Umesh Yadav and go aggressive and go at his armpit.
Well, there you go. 7 50s in 8 innings. Could it be 8 50s in 9 innings? Because they're up first. They're going to be batting first against the Royal Challengers Bangalore, who desperately need to win to stop making it 3 losses in a row. We need to find a winner as well. What question do you have posed for us today on Joy Factor?
It's a question which Michael Vaughan has a certain amount of connection with, and he'll see the question and get it. Okay, Graeme Smith and Gary Sobers are the only 2 people on a particular list on which Alan Border is lucky not to find himself. Which list in Test cricket are we talking about? They've all done something which, and they've done something unsuccessfully, which, let me put it this way, Michael Vaughan has done successfully.
Now you've got him thinking. No hints, Michael. No hints, Michael. It's something you've done on the field. Excellent. This is going to get everybody thinking. This is, of course, where you need to get your hashtag Cricbuzz Live in and send us the answers. Of course, there's 2 sets of work we've given you. That question, as well as which film star do you think Rashid Khan is best going to be? This is where we bring this edition of MPL Presents Cricbuzz Live to a close, but that's only the start of Super Sunday, because we've got a double header to talk about. We've got an MPL Super Couch prediction to go just before we finish. So it's in Hyderabad, it's the Orange Army who are going to be batting first. Joy, would you like to go first?
I am going to go with a 174.
174.
I'm going high. It shouldn't be that high. It looks like a pitch that'll give turn.
Well, I was useless yesterday, so I don't think that'll improve. 164. I'm going to go 10 below you.
164, 174. Warner loves his. He loves to feast on anything that comes in colours of red. So I'm going on the higher side. Not too high. 180 once again. That was a number that I won with yesterday, and I'm going to go for that magical number again. So 180 is my number. We have all the numbers for you. In fact, you can start contributing and see. You can't sit on the couch with us, but we can certainly have your company. That's all for now. We'll see you at the 10th over in Cricbuzz Combox. And then, of course, at the mid-innings is someone going to be sitting on that MPL Super Couch.